Hello, everyone. Yes, it's a Friday where I am. I know for some of us it's Saturday already. Like if you're in Australia or New Zealand. So, good afternoon. Interestingly, if you are on the West Coast in the US, it's still morning for you, so good morning. And if you are in Africa, it's good evening, right? Or in Europe. Yes. Just checking on you guys and hoping that you've had an amazing week. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. It's not going to be long. Not going to be long. Thank you. From Calgary, Canada. Amazing. My friends in Ghana. Everyone in Nigeria. Okay, so it's not going to be long, right? And I just feel like, discussing some things going on my mind. Like, of course, you know that leadership is my bias. Yeah, from Winnipeg. Thank you. Austin, Texas. South Africa. My neighbor in Georgia. Awesome. And from London, UK. Okay, so I'm looking at what is going on in Nigeria, around Africa, Latin America, around the world. And thank you so much, everyone, right? Baltimore, Maryland, UK, everywhere. Thank you. Thank you. Abe, love you too. Aberdeen, wow, Lincoln, Scotland. Amazing, okay? So, I was discussing with the top official of a UN agency, some days ago, and we were talking about the conflicts going on around Africa, and we then realized that the war going on, the conflict going on in Sudan, that it's not even on the radar of the media anymore. Yet, people are being killed and millions have been displaced, right? So at the end of the discussion, I said, that the bottom line, talking about the root of all these conflicts is leadership. It's just contest for power, contest for resources, right? So that's what got me thinking. Whichever way you look at it, whatever it is you may be doing, the leadership in your country is deciding the quality of your life. If you ask the average person, like if I say in Nigeria right now, for example, what's our biggest problem now? Right? Some people would say, oh, it's the economy. Oh, it's the hunger. But honestly, it's leadership. Our problem is not lack of money. Who said? It's not lack of resources, right? It is leadership. Africa is so blessed, right? So practically every continent is blessed, aren't we? Latin America is so blessed. And some of the countries struggling the most in Latin America are the ones that have oil, crude oil, right? So Africa is awash with mineral resources, right? awash. Gold, now they're talking about lithium, and rare minerals that are so critical to the technologies we're using right now. Okay? So we need to address the real issues. This world cannot be better than humans make it. And that, our collective thinking, our collective behavior, that is what is deciding the quality of our lives. And since we've decided that the best way to get the world to work is for us to come together in communities and for us to choose people that will direct our affairs, right? Then to a large extent, the quality of the decisions that are being made and the quality of, the character and the competence of the people making those decisions that affect thousands and then affect millions, that is what is deciding what's going on in our world right now. So we've got to discuss leadership, right? So I decided to take leadership seriously, right? 29 years ago, I went on radio and began to teach people how to succeed. That the world runs on principles, powerful principles that have no respect for persons, right? I've been doing that now, almost 30 years on radio, on the media. But at the end of the day, what did I have to admit? That as much as you try to apply those principles at the personal level, the environment that you are in, economic, political, social, will determine the degree to which you will succeed. That's it. So that made me to begin to pay serious attention to leadership. I began to pay serious attention to leadership. So in spite of my background in engineering, then I went for my master's degree in leadership and then did the doctoral degree in strategic leadership. So that I won't just be paying lip service to this leadership issue and be running on assumptions, right? Just so that we can address the real issues. So I'll tell you, for example, that one of the basic principles, right, that determines the quality of leadership is vision. Vision. Vision is just ability to see. But simply put, I like to use simple language. When you're an expert in an area, what you use to make your money is vocabulary, right? You use complicated vocabulary that you will need to explain before people understand it. Then you can charge them big money. But let me explain vision. It's just seeing, but not just with your physical eyes, but with your inner eyes. You have that equipment as a human. That equipment is a miracle. It's called the imagination. It's powerful. What you see with it is literally what you use to create the new realities of your life. Okay? What you see inside today is what you will see outside tomorrow. That's how it works. The way the human system is, you think of anything that man has created, there is none that did not come through that process. There is none. All things are created twice. There is first a mental creation and then there is a physical creation. So that's why leadership is important. So when you use the imagination to your advantage, that is self-leadership. That is self-leadership. Where I am today, I saw yesterday and wrote down, right? Once I discovered the principle. So, but then leadership is not only about yourself. Leadership is you turning the focus away from yourself towards other people and then helping other people to improve in their lives, right? So this vision thing then means that you don't see only for yourself anymore, you see for other people. I then describe vision as the ability to see people, places, and things, not just the way they are, but the way they could be. The ability to see people, places, and things, not just the way they are, but the way they could be. I look at you as a person. I see you not just the way you are, I see the way you could be. Then I begin to take practical steps to help you become better. I see our city not just the way it is, but the way it could be. I see our organization the way, not just the way it is, but the way it could be. I see our family not just the way it is, but the way it could be. I see a whole nation, not just the way it is, but the way it could be. That is vision. Someone said, vision is at the heart of a leader. Once you take vision out, say there's nothing left of the leader. So this is my simple discussion today, and I would like to get your take on it. Are there, especially talking about the developing part of the world, talking about countries in Africa, countries in Latin America especially, and then some in Asia are still trying to come up. Does your country have a clear picture of what it is going to look like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now? I mean, does your country have a vision? A national vision? They may not even call it that. There's a thing about terminologies, but it's important for you actually to be doing the thing. You don't need to know the definition of a principle before you apply it. Does your country have a clear idea of where? Does everybody have a clear idea? Right? I see you. Does the average person in your country have a clear idea of what the country is going to look like in the future? My country of birth is Nigeria, and that's the one thing I'm looking for. Okay, I think some African countries have tried to, hold those national discussions. Now, if you're from one of those countries, I think Kenya has done something like that. If you're from such a country, please let us know, okay? So we can learn. But all I keep looking for in Nigeria is, what's the idea of what we're becoming, right? Do we want development? Do we want to become a developed country, right? Dubai evolved over the last 40 years from a desert, right? The first time Pastor Nicky and I visited Dubai was the year 2020. So that was almost 24 years now. And it actually was just hitting this big boom in development. Between that time and now, it's been phenomenal. But even then, even then, it was inspiring visiting Dubai 24 years ago. And later on, a few years later, I would read the book titled My Vision by Sheikh Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai. Then I saw, okay, so this thing is not happenstance, right? So, why is vision important? Why is vision important? Number one, it runs on the powerful principle that drives humans and gives us control over nature. Because that control is given us in our imagination, right? What you see inside today is what you will see outside tomorrow. The countries that are developed that we see today, they did not drop from heaven. They were built by people. But the one thing you can be sure of is that some people saw the picture of development for their countries. The other thing vision does is that it gives you, it becomes your basis for evaluation. It becomes the basis for evaluation. Okay? Vision aligns you with one of the most powerful principles that give humans control over nature, over this planet. Secondly, vision becomes the basis for evaluation. It's so easy for us to say, oh, we're doing well, we're making progress. How do you know whether you're making progress or not when you did not decide where you were going? See, the speed at which you are traveling does not matter if you have not decided on your destination. You can actually be going very fast in the wrong direction or running very fast into the bush. Where did we say we were going? Because, so this is 2024, right? That we're having this discussion. And the question I'm asking myself, where did we say we were going to be in 2024? Right? So the quality, the kind of vehicle you are using doesn't even matter. Right? It doesn't matter whether you are flying or you are driving in a car or whatever. It doesn't matter if you did not decide on your destination. So the basis for evaluation. So when you say, oh, somebody is trying, oh, we're trying, oh, we're doing well, relative to what? Right? You've got to decide on your destination first. So when it comes to evaluation, I think vision is the powerful basis for that. Then vision gives hope. Vision is a solid basis for hope. So even when you have to make temporary sacrifices, you know why you are making the temporary sacrifice. Why? Because you have a picture of the destination in your mind. So when a country is going through a difficult time, and sometimes even an organization, sometimes even a family, right? People sink into hopelessness. People sink into hopelessness, sink into despair if there is no vision, right? Because they're finding it difficult to find hope. We humans can endure temporary hardship when we have a clear idea of where we're going. I remember when I was doing my National Youth Service program in Kano State in Nigeria, and sometimes I would be so low on funds that I would go on the night bus from Kano to Ilori, right, Kwara State, and I would buy the cheapest seat on the bus. The luxurious bus has luxurious seats, right? But then you had this space that actually was the aisle. It's the aisle where people should pass through. These bus owners created small box seats with wood. If you know, you know. Small seats. In Yoruba language, it's called ota, right? The kind that you use in the kitchen, that people will use in the kitchen to cook. That was what I paid for. And would travel on that journey overnight. I think, how many hours was it? Maybe 10 or so, right? I'm sure you know it was not easy on the butt. But I was going home. I knew where I was going. So I could endure, right? I could endure because I knew where I was going. So when there's a vision, when there's a clear idea like that, then people can endure because we know where we're going. So my question today is, do you think that countries should hold national discussions. Like if you're a Nigerian by birth like me, do you, or even if you're naturalized, right? Do you think we should discuss the future of the country? Do you think we should discuss what the country should become in 25 years, in 30 years' time? Some of us will still be around 20 years, 30, 40, right? 50, 60, 70, right? And as long as there is no vision, it will be very difficult to compete with other countries. It will be very difficult to compete for resources. Very difficult. See, vision fuels your creativity. You've defined the end point, then you have to find a way to get there. So if there is no road, that's why we create roads. Right? Yeah, King Solomon said it in the Bible, where there is no vision, people perish. Right? So for how long are we going to go around and around just hoping, right? Just hoping without any clear idea. And what we need to do, in my view, I think we need to discuss it, right? So what do you think? Do we need, to have this national discussion? It doesn't take long for a country to change, especially when the country is loaded with potential. Brilliant people, entrepreneurial people, hardworking people. It doesn't take long. That's what Dubai tells us, and some of the countries in the Middle East. It doesn't take long for a country to change if you want, right? So thank you for those that said, yes, we need to have this discussion. There was a discussion like that some years back, during the Goodluck Jonathan administration. And for some reason, the billions of naira were spent organizing that national conference in Nigeria. And the report is buried somewhere. The report is buried somewhere, right? So, so this discussion is for us citizens, right? This is for us citizens. This is not even about somebody is in government, somebody is not in government right now. We'll come to that. That's a major part of the discussion. But the starting point is, it is what majority of our citizens want and demand for. That's what we'll get. Today, oh yes, there's massive inflation, things are expensive. So right now, the priority is survival, right? So prayer. My prayer is that while we're looking for what to eat, that what will eat us should not be doing press up somewhere, developing capacity. At the end of the day, the environment, the national environment, to a large extent, influences how well we are able to prosper. Okay? So how do you think we should go about having a national discussion? What are the practical ways? What can I do? What can you do, right? To move the country towards having this discussion, right? You see, this is what leadership is about. This is what leadership is about. It is doing the little bit you can do, however little it is. Okay? This is Charlie says, we need someone like you to organize civil society to hold such a conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Sean is asking, can we still listen to this on your page? Yes, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it on my page, right? And we can share it, right? Share it. Open up the discussion, right? You may say, oh, it's only 10 people that like my post. At least you are influencing 10 people, because that's what leadership is about, right? Fella says, it's really concerning the absence of national vision. Ill-willed organizations can build on their own ill vision, and that's scary. Oh, yeah. So, well, the point is that people are then developing their own agenda for the country, and they're executing. And unfortunately, not everyone has pure motives. Most people are self-centered. They're selfish, right? So people are developing visions, but they are selfish visions. So, and then you have small number of people sucking and enjoying most of the resources of the country, but the majority are in serious deprivation, right? Is vision the same as positive imagination? I would say yes. I would say yes. Going by our own discussion here, I would say yes. It's positive for vision to be negative, right? It's just ability to see, right? So some people use their imagination to see revenge, to see destruction for other people, right? But here, yes, positive imagination for us. Yes, more true leadership. True leadership is about doing the little you can to make a difference. You know, a lot of people, when they hear the word leadership, it's position they think about, right? A lot of people believe that it is occupying a position at a high level that makes you a leader, but it's not true. The definition has changed. Like I said, that's why I went to do PhD on this leadership thing. Leadership is influence, ability to influence one or more people to achieve goals. Thank you, Florence, said by sharing to different platforms. Absolutely, yes. Influencing one or more people, that's leadership. And just like everything else in life, you start small and then you grow big, right? You test, you prove what works, and then you do it at a bigger level. So whatever it is I'm doing today, for example, I did at a small level before. Okay, so Ebziba is asking, what can the citizens do, you and I? Good. That's what we're getting ideas on, right? Everybody's contributing. Everybody's contributing. So you share, you post, it influences somebody, it shifts somebody's thinking. That's leadership, whether you realize it or not. Technology is making it easier. Okay, Elohor says, I also feel that the purpose of Nigeria is not even known. Why do we even have Nigeria? There must be a why for everything that is done. That's a very smart question you're asking. Very smart question. What's the purpose for Nigeria? Why was Nigeria created? When you ask why, then it will take you to who. Then you will have to admit that Nigeria was not created by Nigerians. It was created by Europeans, just like every other African country. It was created by Europeans. Why did they create the countries? To source raw materials to feed the industries, right, in Europe. So until we develop vision, that will become the ideology that will then drive the evolution of our countries, our best resources will continue to go out. Good. So it is very urgent for us to discuss development. Please, can your organization champion a symposium for Nigeria's political leaders in this light? Good idea. Let's think about all the other organizations that can also make that happen. She says, for varied inclusion, we probably need to use technology and have town halls in different states, all connected and coordinated from a center. That wouldn't cost billions. Fantastic idea. Thank you. The one thing that we must emphasize is that this generation has the benefit of technology. We must leverage it. We can easily influence a lot of people at short notice. Can you see? I did not announce that I was going to have this live session. I started, and people are on here from different continents. Isn't that amazing? So I agree with you. We can have a central location where we have, and like you said, town halls. That actually has to become a culture. We need to create that new culture. Town halls where citizens discuss the country, and then we can leverage technology to get a lot of people involved. Fantastic one. Kiran Sog. I believe the patriotism that a lot of countries have today is ingrained in them from learning the truth about the country and not just current affairs. Absolutely. You've got to know the history of your country, know its vision, know its values, and then see how the country is adding value to you. I must tell you that patriotism issue, asking people to love their country when their country has not loved them, is very difficult. Can any meaningful vision be sustainable in a country full of corruption? I'll tell you, it's because there's no vision. That's why corruption is so rife. Corruption is just illegal behavior. Where there is no law, there's no sin, right? Once you have vision, I promise you, one of the things vision does is that it brings discipline into your life. You will have a better sense of right and wrong when you have. So there's no country that is free from corruption because the police and the government are watching over everybody every day. It doesn't work like that. It's that even from inside you, you want to do the right thing, right? But you need to be programmed from childhood to have that kind of a mindset. Thank you. So Kofo says it must start with education from the grassroots or primary school level. We must stir up the spirit of nationalism in Nigeria. You just nailed it. That was what I was just saying. The human is a programmable creature. The human can be programmed. So some countries are deliberate about it, and that's one of the powerful things that a vision does. A vision programs a person from the inside. So we've got to be deliberate. So this is how it works. A country has a vision for development. The country then realizes it has to cultivate the people that will build the country. The country will not drop from heaven. The developed country you're looking for, it won't drop from heaven. So you have to cultivate the people that will build the country. Now that's the essence of the schools. That's the purpose of the education. Can you see? So if we are haphazard about our approach to education, if we're lackadaisical, if you're seeing primary schools under trees, right, and some in buildings that have knocked down, the lack of vision is part of the problem, right? How can I become a good leader? Where do I start? Fantastic question, Jide. Fantastic question. Two basic things. Two basic areas you need to pay attention to. Character, competence. Character, competence. Leadership works on trust. People will not follow you. They will not yield to your influence if they don't trust you. They will not trust you if you don't have character, if you are not consistently honest. Okay? So you focus on the building of your character, developing the capacity to love people, capacity for self-control and self-discipline. The other part is competence. You actually have to know how to solve problems. So there's technical competence. So in one area or the other, you become an expert. You serve as an apprentice or you go to school, you become an expert. There is also leadership skill. Leadership itself is a skill. So you go online, Google on leadership, right? And be practicing the things that you are learning gradually. Buy books, read them on leadership. Our leaders should be visionary. They need trainings from you. Thank you. Actually, that's why I went back to school. So I'm advising a lot of leaders right now in business and government. So gradually. So it doesn't have to be in the open, right? But I want to develop the capacity to advise because sorry for that brief break there. So we make mistakes. I see those mistakes that leaders make. So behind, I want to be there to be advising. Just tweak this a little bit. Your leadership makes more impact. But then remember, you don't focus on what you cannot control. You focus on the one you can control, right? So when people ask me, have you spoken to Mr. President? These things you are saying make sense. Have you spoken to Mr. President? I say yes. I said, but it may not be the president you're thinking about. You're thinking about the president that is on seat now. I'm talking to the president that is going to be there. It's really very difficult to talk to someone when they're under the pressure already of the position. So I'm talking to the ones that are going to be there, so tomorrow can be better, right? So I'm talking to both. So Dave says, I think the first thing that should be done is to create more awareness about this topic. Most Nigerians don't even have this mindset, and that mindset needs to be changed via effective awareness. Thank you. Thank you. And one person can do this job, right? So we need to talk. We need, as you can see, this is not even part of our educational system, right? So I call this informal education. We literally need to educate the country. So can you accept that responsibility? Can I accept that responsibility? Can we use the platforms that we have and to shout as much as we can? Right? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. National deliberation conferences can be staged across the nation. Right. Oh, thank you, Jide. He says, I'm a student of the SPPG. That's the School of Politics, Policy, and Governance. You taught some weeks ago. How can I offer my skills for the good of the nation? Honestly, the best place to start is where you are. Honestly, the best place to start. And you may be surprised, especially if you pull young people together, like teenagers, right? People younger than yourself, and begin to talk to them and let it grow gradually from there. Life works in amazing ways. You use the small opportunities you have now, and then things grow from there. You'll be amazing at the doors that open for you. And don't just talk, right? Teach those young people that leadership is service. Leadership is service. So find something to do in the community. Clean the gutters, do something, paint somewhere, and all that, right? Help someone, okay? The coach studio, absolutely. I started to lead a men's group. I started with 5 people, now we're 30 and still growing. Fantastic. Fantastic. There's something I almost launched some years back and slowed down a bit. Slowed down to cook. But we're going to launch clubs around the country. Yeah? Clubs of people, those citizens discussing like that all over the country and doing basic things, service around the country and feeding this mindset. And we even have videos and pictures of what Nigeria will look like when it is developed that we then wanted to be supplying to all those groups, and to encourage them to move, meet around the country. So I'd say this is a fantastic thing. You can start on your own. Please go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, I have just a few minutes to go for today. It's a discussion that will continue, right? Can you help us to mentor our youths on a one-on-one? We run the political school for future leaders. Well, maybe somewhere along the line. For now, my plate is full and running over, right? But maybe if I have an idea what your school is about, I can offer advice and see how I can be of help, right? Sir, please, do you think the lack of history studies completely or partially responsible for the lack of vision as a nation? It's a major part of it. It's a major part of it. I read books on the first 2 military coups that happened in Nigeria in 1966. There was one in January. The second one was in July. So they were my dad's books. When I was a teenager and I read those books, 1, I had an idea of the country's problems. 2, I developed a passion to solve them. So the lack of history, it's a big problem. A consultant in the US named George Banner defined vision as foresight based on insight with the benefit of hindsight. Foresight based on insight with the benefit of hindsight. So that's what we are talking about. No hindsight, very difficult for you to form vision. Where are you projecting from, right? You want to solve problems you even have no idea about, right? Eddie Skelly, how do people transition from knowing a vision to doing a vision? The connecting point is a plan. The connecting point is, because vision is actually a picture, but picture of endpoint. Picture of endpoint, right? So you would then need to sit down and calculate the steps from where you are to where you want to go, right? And then you start. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And then, of course, it will become obvious to you also the resources that you need to fulfill the vision. So that's part of the planning, the budgeting, right? The people you need, the financial resources, the whatever. So if there's no plan, the vision will remain abstract. How can we scale these micro-level impacts to develop and lead a national vision for Nigeria? Technology, because it's connections between people, networks. Those are the things that help us to scale. It's networking, right? It's networking. That's why the politicians keep telling the younger people, you have to start from the grassroots. You have to start from the grassroots. You have to have some local influence. And what happens when you want to build national is that a lot of people that have local influences come together, right? Collaborate, depending on their visions and their values, right? And their aspirations, they collaborate. So, but the collaboration is made much easier these days because the means of communication for humans are getting better because of technology. Right. Good. Come to think of it, we can do the town hall meetings online, right? Like we're having one now. It is very urgent to start a leadership program for our schools, especially high school. I agree with you. I'm discussing with one of the agencies of government on that, right? Something that would go into our national curriculum. It's something I've discussed with Sheyi Adisa, who is also on this call right now. All right, so thank you everyone. It's been an interesting and enlightening one, and I hope you've gotten maybe one or two things, right? One or two things that can be helpful as we start on this journey. Yeah, Lumaj says average youth must be well informed about the history of the name Nigeria before talking about the national family meeting. We've got to be schooled first. Yes, vision brings discipline, yes. Is this not what the National Assembly or Congress should do as representatives of the people? Absolutely, oh yes, that's what they should be discussing. They should be discussing the vision of the country, the progress of the country, but sorry, it's not that way. So we need to build the country from the ground floor up. And different countries, right? I know we've used Nigeria as an example, but then different nations, that's how we build them, right? Good. Wow. Has this been helpful? I don't want this to be too long, okay? Has this been helpful? If this has been helpful, can you type a yes? No, yes. Type yes, right? This is a discussion. This has been a discussion on leadership, on national development, on vision. You know, it's a discussion we will take forward, especially national development, vision, leadership, national values, the principles and standards you adopt to control your behavior, to make the fulfillment of the vision possible. All right, thank you so much for the responses. Thank you for the participation. Thank you for the ideas. Like I said, we'll keep this going. I think, will it help if we try to do this, say, maybe on Fridays? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe just for about 30 minutes or so on Fridays, right? If you think we should do this more often, can you type a yes? A Y. Not yes this time, just Y. Just Y. So all of us see whether we can adjust our programs and just make provision for some 30 minutes or so, or 45 or so. Thank you, Nena. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. All right. Okay, so thank you guys. Till we see again. Keep believing. Start with self-leadership. Have self-vision, right? See yourself the way you're going to be 10 years, 20 years from now. You'll be amazed. Dreams come to pass. So your dreams are coming to pass. Your wildest dreams are coming to pass. And you and I are going to build not just families and organizations, but we're also going to build cities and we're going to build nations. I pray for your weekend to be restful and inspired and peaceful. And if you're traveling, safe travels. God bless. Bye for now.